streets of Cincinnati. Welcome to the jungle! Let's go. Stripes, 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 yeah. Stripes, 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 yeah. Stripes, 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 yeah. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, who day we ignite in our Cincinnati, we gon' rise in in the jungle we unite in dripping orange and black and white. Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Wake up the beast, every day is a feast. Time to bust it off the leash. In the jungle dripping heat, tigers stripe the city streets. East side stand up, west side stand up. If you reppin' who day, time to put your hands up. Dingle stripes, we in it. New day, new age, yeah, we get it. Cincinnati jungle fitted. Who day in our house, we win it. Orange and black and white, we build it. Earn our stripes, you know we kill it. Bleed our colors, jungle dripping. Nasty, natty, yeah, we lit it. Lit the crowd, get the city loud. Yeah, we feasting now. Fit the pounds, make the city howl. Now we beastin' now. Thunder through the tunnel, from the sideline to the huddle. Stripes we tatted on the jungle when we flex that who they muscle on them. Stripes, Cincinnati, we gon' rise in in the jungle we unite in dripping orange and black and white. Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Stripes. Now who wanna move dancing on? Stripes. Now who wanna move on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock 'em, yeah we got 'em, yeah we fought 'em. Like that black and orange upon 'em, bingo bottom, never stopping till the beast on feasting on 'em. Who they rockin' with the diamond stripes, flossing on the ring. Cincinnati, she's our queen, we gon' show the world who king. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, who day we ignite in Cincinnati, we gon' rise in the jungle we unite in dripping orange and black and white. Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Now who wanna move dancing on? Now who wanna move on? Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, the Iceman, Jeff Trunapole. And as always, I'm bringing you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of maybe the number 5 team in the country. We'll find out tonight. But good thing is the Bearcat basketball starts tonight. I'm excited about it. It's on ESPN Plus. So hopefully you have ESPN Plus and you can watch it at 7 o'clock tonight. Now, do me a favor. If you found the show, hit that like and subscribe button. Smash that thumbs up. I'm up to 1,416 subscribers. That is awesome. I appreciate every single one of you guys. And as always, if you're watching on Facebook or Twitter, do me a favor. Go to the YouTube channel, Sports with Strawberry Ice. Hit the subscription button. Hit the bell for notifications. And every time I go live, you'll be notified. Also, exclusively in the YouTube chat, we're doing Super Chat. So if you want to support what I'm doing or make sure your comment gets read, please give me a super chat. I would greatly appreciate it. Now I'm coming to you live from the Ice Cave, and the Ice Cave is brought to you by T Properties. T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out the website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. All right, guys, I got Jeff Carr from Locked on Reds and from All Bearcats, but we got a little bit of Bengals news I want to get to real quick before I bring him in here. The Bengals have placed Akeem Davis-Gaither on IR. He suffered a foot injury on Sunday. The team also placed kick returner Brandon Wilson on IR. He injured his knee and got carted off the field on Sunday. So the Bengals made a move today. They acquired Clay Johnston from waivers today off the Panthers. Johnston is in his second year. He's a linebacker, and he has 11 tackles in 8 career games. He will most likely be on special teams for the Bengals. But as everybody's talking about in the chat, that the college football rankings are coming out tonight. We'll see what happens. We also have the Reds, who really haven't given us a whole lot to talk about in the offseason. But one of the greatest guys to bring on to talk about the Reds and with his new job at All Bearcats, he's Jeff Carr. Jeff, what's going on, man?
Jeff, how you doing, sir?
Good, man. Good. So, like I said before we started the show, you got some new jobs. So I figured I'd let you tell everybody what you're doing right now.
Yeah, man. James Rapine just started a brand new Sports Illustrated website, allbearcats.com, and I'm writing with him and with Russ Heltman, and we're getting it going. Just been writing about this Bearcats team that, on the football side of things, has been treading water. Kind of feels like they're still undefeated, and I think that should count for something. But the problem is, in the eyes of the committee, that's they get to choose, and it's not really so much what the Bearcats do as to how good they look doing it.
Exactly.
So that's what ifs. But yeah, doing that, and then working with Locked On, getting a chance to kind of help grow the Locked On MLB channel, all of our different Locked On MLB podcasts. They've got a podcast for every single team right now. It's if you want to listen to a rival and you want to figure out what's going on with the Cardinals, God love you. You can. If you want to see how happy the Cubs are for getting Wade Miley, you can go check out Locked On Cubs, and then also Locked On Reds as well.
You can also check out Locked On Tigers. That's where Tucker Barnhart's at.
Exactly. See Tucker's new digs. So
yeah, exactly.
I think he's wearing number 15 too. I saw that. That's
really
pretty cool.
Didn't know that. That's cool. All right, well, let's get into the more interesting, fun topic: the Bearcats.
Yes.
We got the basketball team playing tonight, but let's get into what possibly could happen tonight in the college football rankings. And I know the Bearcats didn't do it in great style, as we have to have style points to beat every team we play. Like I said, I think we were held to a higher standard than anybody else because Alabama barely beat LSU, but they're probably gonna be number 2 still. My opinion is top 2 are going to be the same. I think they're just moving Ohio State up, and they're going to move UC to 5. At least that's what I'm hoping, unless they decide to jump Oklahoma over us. But what's your thoughts there, Jeff?
Honestly, and I don't mean to sound like a pessimist on this, I think Oklahoma does jump the Bearcats, and the Bearcats remain at number 6. You're totally right. The Bearcats are held to a completely different standard than everybody in front of them and most of the teams behind them too. I mean, Oklahoma has looked pretty ragged, even though they're undefeated. They have won some games that they were trailing for long periods of time against teams that they were heavily favored against.
Yeah.
So for the committee to really harp on the Bearcats' small wins over Tulsa and Navy and just the annoyingness that brings to us Bearcats fans, we have to understand this is called the college football playoff, but it's really the college football invitational.
Yeah, it's a Power 5 invitational. That's pretty much what it is. I mean, because I'll even give it to Chad Brendel. I was listening to the Bearcat Bounce podcast, and he even brought up a good point, which he's right. The college football playoff structure was designed by the Power 5 schools. So, I mean, it's made to keep us out. I mean, that's just the way it is. And it's going to change once we get to the Big 12. And some people ask me, you're like, well, with Oklahoma and Texas leaving, do you think they'll still keep the Big 12 as a Power 5? Absolutely, yes. Because honestly, if the teams that are supposed to go to the Big 12 right now, there's more ranked teams that are not in the Big 12 that are supposed to be in eventually than are in it right now. So yes, I think we're gonna be fine. I think it's gonna be nice, and it's gonna be nice for us. If we can go there and we can. Oh hell! If we can go there and dominate like we had this year, we got a straight path right to the college football playoffs every year. This is what's going to happen in my opinion, because the SEC is so big, and now Texas and Oklahoma are going there. You're not going to have 4 SEC teams. If you do, nobody will ever watch it. It'll completely tick everybody off. They're going to expand. They have to expand because they have to let more SEC teams in. They have to have some reason to do it. Now, I know this is coming. Now, I've heard somewhere between 6, 8, and then 12 teams. I'm okay with the 8. I like 8 because you can go with the Power 5, and whoever wins their championship game is what I'm putting on. So you put the emphasis on the championship game so they all don't lose their title games. Whoever wins that, they're in. So you got 5 of them that are automatically in. Then you take the best for the group of 5, and then you have 2 wild cards. So you can get some more SEC, probably 2 SEC teams. But I think that's the best case scenario. I think 12 is a little bit too much, but what's your thoughts on that?
I do like the expansion idea. 12 does seem like a lot, and I know that with college football especially, they try to kind of bump the sanctity of the regular season schedule. So I don't know, and I think I heard that 12 is probably what they're working toward. I think I agree with you that 8 is the right number, and there should be a spot, a automatic qualifier if you're thinking about the NCAA basketball tournament for the best group of 5 school. I mean, the Bearcats are the latest in
Mhm.
a long line of really good non-power 5 schools that have had amazing football seasons who get completely pushed aside. Now, the Bearcats are at least close enough that they're not being an afterthought, and they're
Right.
right there on the fringes so that if chaos like this past Saturday almost happened and
Mhm.
LSU beats Alabama, if that quarterback could have hit the water, if he fell out of a boat, they would have beat him.
That close.
Um,
I was like,
God, gosh, that
oh.
I
Well,
was cringing that whole time.
Oregon struggled against Washington. So I
Yeah.
mean, it wasn't like they all had dominating performances, but that's not going to count as much as. Well, I'll give it to Tulsa. We that game was frustrating because I'll give it to Jim Kelly. He said this on the broadcast. The Bearcats won the first quarter and then won the third quarter. Tulsa won the second and the fourth. And what killed me, and when we come out of the first half, we go right down the field and score like it's nothing. It's like, why can't we do that? Which, and I wonder if the pressure, and this is what I've said too, is I know our schedule is nowhere close to an SEC team or anything like that. I understand that, but the pressure that the Bearcats are under to be absolutely perfect, they have to be perfect in every aspect, and they've already won every game, a regular season game last year. They've won every regular season game up to this point this year. I know you're not supposed to count that stuff, but I
Right.
don't care what league you're in. That's hard to do, along with the pressure of, oh my God, we can't screw this up. Oh my God, we gotta win by 50. That's, to me, that's the same kind of pressure as playing an SEC schedule, not competition wise, but the pressure.
And Jeff, that's why I've thought about this, because when the initial college football rankings came out, I knew what was going to happen, and yet I still allow myself to be really annoyed by it and really upset by it.
Me too.
And so after I slept on it, I thought, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to let a bunch of old dudes that are just picking the best and most expensive college football team they can think of to make the playoff. I'm not going to let a bunch of old dudes sitting in some kind of boardroom ruin my enjoyment of this Bearcats team. And yeah, you do worry about these close wins and the fact that Tulsa, it really, in my from where I was sitting in the stadium, it really looked like Tulsa's offensive line and defensive line just dominated that game.
All up
And
to that fourth quarter stand, the goal line stand. Yeah, we
yeah,
could, dude. They had that big boy, that big running back. We could not stop him. And
no,
moving forward, that scares me. I don't know what's going on
yes.
with the run defense.
And I agree. And I think that, yeah, I mean, you look at their schedule ahead, and all those teams have to do is run the football. Like, you
Mhm.
just got to keep away from Des Ritter, and you got to keep the clock running and just pound that defensive line. Plus, the other thing that I noticed that Tulsa did was they isolated Myjai Sanders. Myjai
Mhm.
Sanders was much faster than the right tackle he was facing, but the right tackle would usher him to the outside and just let him run a nice big round circle around their quarterback. And then if he tried to cut inside from the snap, they would double team him with the right guard. And they basically dared anybody else on that defensive line to beat them. And because of that, they were able to control the line of scrimmage. So I think that the other teams are going to take that tape and they are going to do whatever they can to make sure that they can replicate that success that Tulsa had. So the Bearcats are going to have to get creative with the way that they pressure other teams' quarterbacks, because I don't care how bad an arm you have in college football. If you've got 10 seconds to throw
Right,
the ball,
right.
you're going to find somebody.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what the Bearcats have got to clean up. And I have to. And this is one thing I can't stand about this season. I'm having so much fun watching them, but I'm getting mad after we win, and I'm like,
Right.
because I'm like, oh, they're gonna keep us out, and I've got to get to the point where I'm trying to get myself, and I think all Bearcat fans need to get to this point, because it doesn't matter what we do. I don't think they're going to let us in no matter what. I've said that. I mean, I've said that from the beginning. I keep saying it, but I still want to get in. We need to be able to enjoy this because the 2 years we had with Brian Kelly, we went to the Orange Bowl and Sugar Bowl, were awesome. They were the funnest times I had being a Bearcat football fan. I mean, I went to the Pitt game when they clinched the Big East, Pike to Benz. I was at that game. It was one of the funnest games I've ever been to. We need to get back to that, just enjoying it, because we're going to drive ourselves nuts. I'm driving my own self nuts with this, getting ticked off about a win. I'm like, we're winning. And I have to tell you the story of me trying to watch the Bearcat game Saturday night. Well, obviously it was at 3:00. I didn't know that at the time. We bought Cyclones tickets. So the Cyclones game starts at 7:00. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, I'll be able to watch, most of them. Like, oh, crap. No, it's like it's not in the second half, and I got to leave. Like, oh, man. So I'm like, all right, I'm driving. I'm listening to it. And I go pick my son and my daughter-in-law up. And I was like, all right, we got time. So we run to their house and watch a little bit of it. I was like, oh, crap, we got to go. All right, so we got to go down there, get our seats and everything. So I got it on my phone. I'm watching it on my phone. I see the first goal line stand. I'm like, okay, all right, I think we're going to win. Then all of a sudden, the internet went out. I'm like, crap. Like, okay, I can't watch it. Like, so I'm getting on iHeartRadio to listen to Dan Horde, and the crowd was so loud. I was having the phone up to my ear to try to hear what Dan Horde was saying. They got the first. They stopped on first down, stopped on second down, stopped on third down, getting the fourth down. I'm like, all right, what's going on? All of a sudden, internet goes out again. I'm like, what? Like, what happened? Like, oh my God. my daughter-in-law goes, that guy up there has a phone. I run up there. I was like, are you watching the Bearcat game? Yeah. What happened? Hi, I'm Jeff. Nice to meet you. I was stressing out, and it was just to win the game. I was irritated that it came down to that, but oh my goodness, it was stressful just trying to watch the game there.
I tell you, my seats are where I sit are on the goal line right there where it happened, and probably I think we're about 16 rows back or something. I just keep watching. I'm like, I was incredulous whenever the quarterback went into the slide, because, as you know, in any football game, if a quarterback slides feet first, it's where he begins his slide. And if he doesn't do that, if he literally trips over his own shoelaces and falls forward, he scores a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
But he slid, and it was like, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then the fumble into the end zone, I was just, I don't know, man.
I had to watch. Like I said, I heard that, or I didn't even hear it or watch it. I was running to the stairs, and the guy said they won, and I'm like, oh, okay. So later on, I watched it, and I'm like, people are like, well, he broke the plane of the goal. I was like, he never had control of that ball. Right. If he had control of the ball for a second, it's over. And that's like, we got out by that much. I mean, if Tulsa's quarterback, like you said, falls forward, it's over. If he scores, it should have never came down to that. It was, like I said, it was the tale of two different quarters. I mean, like I said, first and second, third and fourth were split either way. It was very, very stressful to watch.
I totally agree. And you talk about how loud the stadium was. It was always this energy, and the fans and the student section and everybody did such a great job of being loud, but it felt like for much of the fourth quarter, it was, all right, let's be loud. All right. All right, let's be loud again. And you just, oh boy.
But I had a blast. I did go down Saturday for game day. I didn't get down there at 5:00 in the morning. We got down there about 8. So we were in the back, and I really couldn't see anything, but we could hear some stuff. But I was kind of surprised that they didn't have speakers farther back so we could hear what was going, because I didn't even know Luke Fickell was on the stage. I was standing there, had no clue he was even there. Every time the camera went by, I had a sign like, I'm trying to get it up. I had my Sports Strawberry Ice sign. I'm trying to put that up there and get on there. But that atmosphere was awesome. And I think it's cool that ESPN said it over and over and over again. This is one of the best college venues they've ever been to. And that bodes well for Cincinnati of how much the fan base is behind this team.
I got the chance to go down as well, and we got there right before the show started. It was not something we were going to ever get close to. And I was talking to some different people, and they're like, yeah, I've been here since midnight. I've been camping out. I'm like, oh, well, I was never going to get close then. But it was kind of cool to walk around and see the behind-the-scenes stuff. And, we stood not, obviously behind the stage is what's on TV. We were standing behind where the cameras were, and so we could look straight on at the stage and see everything that was going on. And, I saw David Pollock get up and walk around during the break, and I nudged my buddy. I'm just like, should I yell out, "Hey, screw Ruben Drones"? But I didn't.
Right.
So, but stuff like that. It was cool to get to witness that, and the fact that UC gets featured, and there was so much that was about the college and about the team that I'm sure the only thing that national fans, the fans of Alabama and fans of Clemson or Georgia or Oregon, the only thing that they know about Cincinnati is this little plucky little group of 5 team that's trying to get into the college football playoff, and
Right.
we're way more than that.
Yeah, exactly. And where they put it right there in McMickens' comments was perfect. I think it
Yes.
was great because one of the coolest things, if you guys watch the show, have never been to the University of Cincinnati campus, the football stadium is literally in the middle of campus. And I don't know of any other college. I'm sure there is. I just don't know of any that has that. Everybody else has them farther out. They're huge campuses. I mean, UC's getting bigger. It's not as big as like Ohio State. Like Ohio State, they got their own freaking town. But
Right.
that is one of the coolest things. And I always say this, I'll forever say this: Nip at Night is one of the coolest college venues ever.
Oh yeah. Especially, and I forget, is senior night, is it actually going to be a night game? Because I know it's a blackout.
I don't know. I have not heard yet.
Because that's always my favorite. Like, Nip at Night is awesome, but when you combine it with a blackout, it's
Yes.
epic.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It just brings you there. Now we got Daryl brings it here. He says, "Is the Bearcat basketball game on TV?" Yes, it is on ESPN Plus. So if you have that, you can watch it. So it'll be the first game of the Wes Miller era. I don't know a whole lot about the basketball team. I'll be honest; it's kind of hard to read stuff or see stuff that's going on. Now that All Bearcats is cranking up, maybe we guys get some more content so we can find out more stuff about the basketball team. But as far as I know, I think it's going to be a really big team. I'm not sure we're going to be going, full press the whole time. I think we're too big for that. What have you heard about the basketball team?
It's going to be interesting because Wes Miller is a very aggressive offensive coach, is what I've heard. More so than John Brandon, and not necessarily in the vein of like playing, hard nosed defense. Although I'm sure they're going to play some pretty good defense because he's an all around decent coach from where his background has led him. I've never known a coach, and I've gotten the chance to cover a couple of different college basketball teams, got to travel with Tennessee State back in 2015. Nobody would know anything about Tennessee State because they literally won 2 games that year, but that was kind of fun from a personal perspective, getting to
Right.
travel around to different colleges and stuff. But when you talk about a team, a coach winning the offseason, Wes Miller couldn't have done anything better than he did before the actual first tip off of this game. I mean, he got to bring some guys back, some guys who looked like they were gone, they were transferring and out of here. He brought them back. He got some really solid transfers and some really solid recruits coming into this team. So it's still a lot of what is the system actually going to look like. That's going to be a huge thing that I look for in tonight's game. And make no mistake about it, Evansville, the Aces, one of the better nicknames in college sports.
Right.
Evansville is a sneaky team. The Missouri Valley Conference is full of talented mid-major schools who always get those first day upsets on the college basketball tournament. So I look at Evansville and I'm saying this 9-point line, the 9-point spread that Vegas has the Bearcats favored at, I think is a bit of a miscommunication or miscalculation. That's
right.
When I look at this game, and I'm a little leery of it because the Bearcats could blow them out, or they could get upset by an Evansville team that is very plucky in the way that they play. A lot of great defense and rebounding schemes that they've always ran with.
Yeah, with the Bearcat, that's the thing is I'm most interested to see tonight, like you said, is to see what kind of team we have. We're not going to find out everything. I mean, we got to go through at least the first month at least to find out what kind of team, because we got a whole bunch of guys that haven't played together. So and then unfortunately we've had that a lot the last 3 years with bringing in I want to say Brandon Miller, our old coach, whatever his name, you know what I'm talking about. Bring him in, and he brought guys in from the transfer portal and stuff like that. And now we had that again. But the good thing is, I do like it that they're one of the older teams, because I think that is more conducive to guys learning how to work together and play together, because they are older, more mature, hopefully, that the gel factor will come together much more quick than we think. I think it's going to be.
Yeah.
If I can figure out how
Yeah.
to
And
get my words together.
I'm with you there. Uh, when it comes to the college basketball landscape, it was completely changed by the advent of the quick transfer. You get to transfer, and your first time that you do it, you don't have to set out a year. So the transfer portal basically became college free agency. And because of that, you can be a brand new coach at a brand new school and compete now if
Right.
you are a good salesman and you can get some good transfers coming in. And I think that's really what Wes Miller tried to do. He's like, I'm not going to sit on my hands and be like, wait for me to get some good recruits. It's like, we're going to win now, and I'm also going to try and build for the future at the same time. And I admire that kind of aggressiveness. I'm losing words too, man. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I need a beer or something. But
yeah, I think that's my problem.
but I admire that kind of tenacity. That's the word, the
There you go.
tenacity of that mindset. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this dude coaches game in and game out.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, he's going to have to get it going pretty quick as far as recruiting goes. Because we think 2023 is what I've heard is when we possibly could be going to the Big 12, but nobody knows for sure yet. But it's going to happen quick, so he's going to have to ramp it up. And everybody's excited about the Big 12 football. Big 12 basketball is no joke.
Yeah,
I mean, if everybody enjoyed the Bearcats being in the Big East back in the day in basketball, well, we're back at a conference like that. So this is no joke. So what I'm hoping is once we get to this, the basketball team is at a level where it can compete in the Big 12. Because right now, like I said, I'm not saying we're not. I have no idea. I haven't seen the guys play. Most likely not, but because Big 12 and AAC are a little different. And like I said, for Wes Miller just coming in for his first year. But I just don't want to happen what happened last time. Last time, everybody kept saying Bob Huggins couldn't coach. Bob Huggins couldn't do this, yada, yada, yada. He's in a terrible conference. I'm like, all right, cool. We'll find out who's going to get the Big East. Well, that happened like 3 months before then. They fired him. Like, oh, crap.
right.
So and then we went for, 5 years or whatever, for however long it took Mick to get the program back together. So I'm hoping that West can get it going. So hopefully it's rolling by the time we roll into the Big 12 and we can dominate in football and basketball. I'm not too worried about football as long as Luke Fickell stays here. And I know I've said it before. I'm a little bit worried about the LSU job, but from somebody I know who is in the know of people at LSU, don't think they're going to get Luke Fickell because he kind of told them to kick rocks. So I think Luke's staying. I was a little more worried until I heard that, but we'll see what happens.
I don't foresee him leaving for LSU. I think he's basically positioned himself and not necessarily coming out and saying it, but it just seems that when you eliminate everything else that he has turned down, he's basically saying, unless Ohio State comes open, I'm not leaving. And I think that's the optimist side of me is saying that, but I think there's also some truth to that. I think that he has made it, and especially UC going to the Big 12 has made it so that UC is actually a pretty good job to have, and that he's really got to take a step up. Like, people were talking about different jobs over the past year, like Mississippi State and things like that. He's not interested in that. He is interested in the tippy top. Like,
right.
If Nick Saban were to retire tomorrow, that's what I'd worry about. I wouldn't worry about LSU. And I think that the way that they treated Ed Orgeron, say what you will about Ed Orgeron, I think that being only 2 years removed from a national championship, Luke Fickell looks at that and be like, well, what the heck do you got to do?
Right. Exactly.
You just won the championship a couple of years ago and you're already firing the guy. So I think that I don't think that that's something that's going to pull him away. And and kind of going back to Wes Miller too for a minute, people that I've talked to who have been around Wes Miller since he's gotten here are like, dude, this guy is a rock star.
Mm-hmm.
And I think fans are really going to gravitate toward him from his personality and the way that he's going to coach the team. And I'm with you. You're talking about a Big 12 that when they get into that, I mean, what sounds better? UC is up against Memphis in whatever Memphis's arena is called here in the middle of February with the conference on the line, or UC it's in Fog Allen Field.
Woo!
against the
dude.
Kansas Jayhawks
Hell yeah.
for a chance at the Big 12 title. I know what sounds better. It's that second one.
Well, I like your big movie man voiceover voice there. That was awesome. But one thing I'll roll back to Luke and one of the guys at work has told me, and I completely disagree with this. He's been talking to me. He's like, oh, I think Luke Fickell's going to be completely frustrated, and he's going to try to get out and go to SEC or something like that, try to win, because he says he'll have a better chance to win. I said, how? I'm like, he's going to go to the Big 12. He said, well, if Luke Fickell can recruit like he can recruit, he's gonna do really well at LSU. I said, right, but if he can recruit like that in the Big 12, where he could be the big dog, he's gonna have a clear path to the national championship or to the playoffs. That's what I'm like. How many years has Oklahoma went? I mean, honestly, from the Big 12 since college football playoff has started, I think Oklahoma's the only one that's ever been in there from the Big 12. I know Texas hasn't been in there. Yeah. So I mean, if you jump in there and you replace Oklahoma, you got a straight path to it. So that's another reason I'm like, he's not going to just leave. And now, if they go out and offer him, $10 million a year or something, that's hard to turn down for anybody.
Right. That's the thing. Like he's positioned himself to the point where it's like a school is going to have to overpay to the point that it doesn't make sense for them to overpay.
Right.
And I also think that there's talk and then kind of rumors about the fact that his wife is super like roots down in Cincinnati and loves Cincinnati and is like, we ain't leaving. We're staying right here. Mm-hmm. And whether or not, it's not as if you could go and ask him that, but whether or not that's true, I mean, that's a good thing for us Bearcats fans. Right. And I think that he is going to be excited about the prospect, because I've heard that too. I've heard the whole, well, if they don't make the playoff, he's going to be frustrated and leave. He could have done that for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And exactly. He hasn't. I don't think this year changes that.
Yeah, he could have left and went to Michigan State, and if he's doing what Michigan State's doing, he would have been in the play, or at least in the top four. He's not. They're not going to be tonight, but they would have been. That's where I'm like, I'm with you. I mean, I always have to have in the back of my mind that he's the chance he can always leave, because they always leave. But I hope they won't. I think we have the best chance of keeping Luke as our head football coach that we've had probably ever, because of the Big 12. I mean, I'll just put it out there because of that. That is a huge get for the school. And I mean, the Bearcats have been working their ass off, I know, to get out of the American Conference. And we thought it was going to happen a couple years ago. We thought the Big 12 was going to expand. And then for some reason they decided not to. And I'll never understand why they only want to stay with 10 teams. And that made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Yeah. But I think moving forward with the teams that they got coming in with us in Central Florida and BYU, I think these schools are on the rise to make bigger jumps. To be honest, make a jump to where we are. And I mean, Central Florida has done it before, so they know what it takes to get there and to be a competitive football, a big time football program. So I do think the Big 12 is going to be fine. I mean, it's going to be a lot like, I think, the ACC. I mean, to be honest, like this year, the ACC has no shot of getting into the college football playoffs. They don't have a team. I mean, especially now Wake Forest is not undefeated anymore, which Wake Forest never really had a shot, I don't think. But that's where I think that the Big 12 moving forward is going to be. And the SEC, that's what I keep telling everybody. It's like, why is everybody in such a big hurry to go to the SEC? You're just making it harder. I mean, I understand money. I know, and that's what it all is. It's money. But if you're going there to win, you're making it harder on yourselves.
Just ask Vanderbilt.
Right, exactly. Vanderbilt does not need to be in the SEC.
Or Missouri. Missouri's like a step above Vanderbilt, but by step I mean like a little tiny step.
Yeah, Missouri. What score 6 points or whatever against Georgia or something like that? Like, oh my goodness, it was ridiculous.
They're awful.
All right, man. Well, we have to get into this part. We don't really want to, but let's talk about the Reds and what their so-called plan is. I mean, they made a trade for Tucker Barnhart, or traded Tucker Barnhart, and they got absolutely nothing for him. They couldn't trade Wade Miley, which I don't know why in the world you'd want to trade our most consistent starter. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And you released him, and he goes to the Cubs, so you get to face him now. That was a brilliant move. Everything that Nick Krall has said to me is, we're not spending any money. We're going to build from within. Okay. Well, if you build from within, You got Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo. And who else? You got a lot more holes on this team to fill. What are they trying to do?
Save money.
Yep, that's
and yeah, I saw somebody took like one of those season ticket banners and put we are realigning payroll on there, instead of like new Reds or get excited, we're going to make a playoff run. It's like, no, we're realigning payroll. And the fact that they're saying this so early on in the offseason, it's just they first of all, they tipped their hand to other teams, not only tipped their hand to fans and really kind of got us all on edge, but they tipped their hand to other teams. That's why
Right.
Tucker Barnhart got traded for nothing, barely.
Mhm.
I mean, I've talked to people about Nick Quintana, whatever. He's
Yeah.
probably a utility player in the future.
Well, the guy from Locked On Tigers, I think you had on your podcast, said he's a not a very consistent hitter, but he has a great eye. He just doesn't
Right.
swing at anything.
Right.
Pretty much what I got from what he said on when you had him on your show.
And when he does swing at it, he doesn't have very good contact. So
Right.
yeah,
That's
it's
not
like-
that's not a good combination there.
right. So you're like, all right. So we kind of threw Tucker to Detroit. I get it. They're saving money. And then the Wade Miley thing. So they put him on waivers, which is essentially just a way of checking to see if anybody will take his contract off your hands, take his option off your hands.
He's not that he's not that expensive to the production he did last year. Sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Well, and the Dodgers just signed Andrew Heaney, which if you haven't heard of him, it's because he pitched for the Angels and he had an ERA above 5.5, and they just signed him to a 1-year, $8.5 million deal. He's making $1.5 million less than Wade Miley, and Wade Miley threw a no-hitter last year, and he pitched amazing. So I don't know, and I saw in The Athletic, Ken Rosenthal wrote about this, and he's just like, I don't know why the Reds didn't think that they could pick up his option and then wait till spring training and try and trade him then, because there would be plenty of suitors, because the market would have dried up for the free agents and they would have been able to make something out of it. But I just don't understand why they had to hand him. They literally handed like we talk about how terrible the deal was of trading Raisel Iglesias for Noe Ramirez, and then Noe Ramirez, we just gave him back to the Angels anyway.
Right.
They literally didn't even get somebody back in this one. They were just like, here make sure we don't have to pay $1 million. Please.
Yeah, you're welcome. I was like, I mean, we can get into more stuff here, but Rural Flesh Terry says I feel like Luis Castillo will get traded for peanuts, and that's the other thing is they're talking about trading him now. I'm like, would you have talked about trading him last year? I mean, I think they're gonna trade him. They might trade Sonny Gray. I'm like, what the hell are they doing? And I put this statement out on Twitter, and I'm not trying to be mean, but it's true. It's how I feel. If they're not willing to spend their money, then why should I spend mine? You know,
and that's the big question.
Right. I mean, and look at when you win. This is what drives me nuts with the Reds and pro teams in general. When you win, we'll show up. Look at the Bearcats. Look how many people showed up for game day. They were there at 5 a.m. till 7 or 8 o'clock at night. Like, get out of here. I mean, I don't get it.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. It's like win, and then your budget kind of helps itself. You don't have to worry about budgets and payrolls and things like that. Just win, baby. But when I will never. And look, I am completely addicted and stuck, and just there's something broke in my brain. I will always make my way to Great American Ballpark. I will always turn the television on to watch Reds games.
I'll watch them. I might not go, but I'll watch them.
Right. But I will never disparage anybody for making the decision not to, because I understand the management and the ownership of this ball club are more worried about the checkbook than they are about the wins and loss columns. It's just absolutely, it's a kerfuffle. I don't know. I look at this, and when you're talking about trading Castillo, there are rumors and there are plenty of reports that the Reds are listening to trade offers. What I hope is this. I hope they wait until the CBA is figured out, because, and I talked about this on today's podcast, they are in a scenario right now where there's a ticking clock.
Mm-hmm.
All teams know that on December the 1st, the CBA expires. And unless a miracle happens, it's going to expire and there's going to be some form of a lockout. Now, people differ on how substantial this lockout may end up being, but they all agree that there will be one. And when a lockout happens, everything freezes. There's no free agent deals, there's no trades. You can have conversations about possible deals once the lockout lifts, but those are fruitless based on the fact that the CBA is in flux and there may be some kind of loophole that a team can take advantage of. There might be some kind of loophole that a player can take advantage of. So there's nothing really concrete that happens. So with all of that, if you trade before that, I don't know too many teams right now that are want to add payroll, that are want to just go out and send prospects to a team for a guy that the other team deems too expensive. There's going to be this weird business side of things of baseball, the side that we all hate, me included, that is going to take over for the next month or so. That if you make a trade right now, the only thing that you're going to get in a positive is the fact that you save money on that player's payroll.
Right.
There's not going to be a scenario where the Reds make a Luis Castillo trade between now and December the 1st that we all look at and go, okay. I like that. I think that'll work. No, that's not going to happen.
Well, the thing is, with what Ken Rutherford said, and when you said this on your podcast too, why did the Reds have to do it right now? They traded Tucker Barnhart the day after the World Series. The day after. Like, why are they in such a hurry? Because, like you said, if it goes to a lockout, which we all think it will, correct me if I'm wrong, but the players don't get paid then either, right?
Right.
Yeah. So what is the hurry? Why did you have to hurry up and get rid of Wade Miley? Why did you have to hurry up and get rid of Tucker Barnhart? Why couldn't you just waited to see what happens? I mean, because these are, you got two guys that were in the no hitter, your backstop and your starting pitcher. They were the reason they had a no hitter.
Well, and I will say about that, they would have had to make a decision whether to decline or pick up the option, which means that after the lockout or something like that, they would have had to commit that money to whichever direction they chose. So they were doing their best to make sure that they didn't have to choose.
Well,
it was like
you said, they could have traded these guys later. It wasn't like it was that much more money that, oh my God, you're paying Wade Miley that much. Oh, we're not going to trade you for him.
Right. And I appreciate too what C. Trent said. Like C. Trent gave Wade Miley's stat line. He's like, that's worth well more than $10 million. Right. I don't know why they're worried about paying him $10 million. It didn't make
sense. What they're doing doesn't make sense to me.
And the only way, and I said this too, the only silver lining I see in any of this when it comes to Wade Miley leaving is that Nick Krall said that in spring training, Nick Lodolo and Hunter Green will be competing for spots in the rotation. That's what he said. Now, to what extent, how legitimate, and what is that tryout actually going to look like? That remains to be seen, but at least he said the right things. Now, he said last offseason they were going to go get a shortstop.
Yeah.
And
he also said they were going to reallocate the money, and they didn't.
Exactly.
Well, I don't believe anything he says, to be honest. All right. Terry wants to know, and this actually is a good question because I think he's a free agent, but is Farmer a tradable asset? He said, or is he a free agent?
He is not a free agent. He's got one more year of arbitration, I believe is what it is. He's due a raise. Is basically what it boils down to.
If he's due a raise, they'll trade him.
Yeah. To be like, man, could you imagine if the company you work for was just like, yeah, you're getting a raise. We're gonna there's a place down in West Virginia. I think they need somebody. We're trading you down there.
Right, exactly.
That would be annoying. But that's basically where we're at. Is he a tradable asset? I think so, but to what extent and how much it would help the Reds this coming season, I don't think very much.
If you just flat out release Wade Miley, your best starting pitcher, and you got barely anything for a Gold Glove catcher, you're not going. They're going to just give away Farmer. I mean, and I think Farmer is. I think he can be an everyday shortstop. I think he proved that last year. But a guy off your bench, he's unbelievable because he literally play everywhere.
And I think that's And I think that's where most teams probably value him if they're looking to trade for him.
Right.
Because I think most major league teams that are at least savvy enough to do stuff like this kind of view it as when you have a fantasy football team, like you're looking to trade, but you completely overvalue the guy that you're trading away. I think a lot of teams do that anyway. And so the other teams have to look for diamonds in the rough when it comes to trades and things like that, unless it's just this ultimate blockbuster deal.
Right.
So when you're talking about trading Kyle Farmer, what we think the value is of Kyle Farmer in a trade, probably deduct about 20 to 30% of what that actually is. And that's
Right.
what we're going to end up seeing the Reds get in a trade for him, because other teams just don't view him as an everyday shortstop. They view him as a super utility player, which I think is where his best value
Right.
is. So I think that the best version of Kyle Farmer is as a Red and not as a trade asset.
Yeah, exactly. And which I hope they keep him, but we'll see. Jeff Holmes here says what the Reds seem like they are trying to do is hopefully win a bunch of talented young players who make it close to league minimum. That's where they're heading. Which I mean, I'm okay if they were major league talent. Oh, we don't have like the Rays. I'll give it to the Tampa Bay Rays. They do this every year. They keep cranking out guys that are major league talented ready. You can do that the way they do it. It works. The Reds, like I said, other than Nick Lodolo and Hunter Green, there's not a whole lot in the AAA level. I mean, double A, single A, there's talent down there, but that's not going to help us this year. That's where I'm like, Dick Carl wants to build from within and get a young team. I was like, okay. But then by the time we get these guys up here, Jesse Winker costs too much money. If we still have Luis Castillo, he'll cost too much money. Jonathan India, who's probably going to win the Rookie of the Year, will cost too much money. I mean, where does it end? And that's what I was so excited about in 2019 and in 2020, the off seasons. We were adding pieces. We added a lot. In 2020, we probably added more than we needed to. But to go from that to turn the faucet completely off and looking like you have no direction. I mean, they have a direction. I don't like their direction. I think it's a rebuild, and it's going to take us a couple years to get it. Now, we already went through 5 years of rebuild. We got 2 years out of this? A semi-good baseball? That sucks, Jeff.
It's terrible. And they told us to wait for so long. They're like, please wait. Please wait. We'll be good. Please wait. And what did we get? We got a quasi playoff appearance and missing the playoffs the next year. Yeah, it's evident to me that the reason that Dick Williams left is because he was doing this number where he was just like trying to acquire and figure out wherever he could find talent and get talent here and acquire talent here. He was also over here stiff arming management. Like, no, stay out of here.
Right.
I got this. You got to trust me on this one. All right. Yeah. Come on over. Nope. Stop. We'll make it work. We'll make it work. And he got tired of doing that.
Yeah.
And it's no knock on Nick Krall whatsoever.
No.
But when he was promoted, it was very obvious that the mandate was we're cutting payroll and you're going to follow our plan. And he's like, I'm happy with this promotion. I will do that.
Yeah.
And that's understand. It's totally understandable. If someone was to come to you at work and say, we are giving you this awesome promotion, big bump up in pay, but you got to follow our directions, you're probably going to follow their directions. That's just the way that works in the corporate world. So when I look at what Dick Williams did and what Nick Krall did and how this team has changed, I just say, thank you, Dick Williams. I really appreciate it because now, what does the future look like? The next move will be so telling, Jeff. It'll be so telling.
Yeah, I think the next move is they're trading away somebody for nothing again.
I surely hope not, because
I hope not. But now, Crown Apple Kid here is a huge Hunter Green fan, and he's been, and I've talked about him on the show with you before. And he's wanted us to bring Hunter Green up in April last year. I kept telling him, I said he's not ready yet. I said he's got to get more pitches. So now Hunter Green will be competing for a spot, and I think most likely be on the team next year. How good do you think Hunter Green will be in his rookie year?
I think his rookie year, he's going to be probably a little bit better than Vladimir Gutierrez. He's definitely got better stuff than Goody does.
Absolutely.
But I think like the stat line, you'll probably see Green struggle a little bit simply because he had a little bit of higher than normal walk rate in AAA. It was something that he was fine with in AA, but once he got to AAA and guys waited on his fastball a little bit and dared him to throw his secondary stuff, that's when he got into a little bit of issue. So I'm sure that this offseason he's going to be working on that secondary pitch and, his slider and his changeup and things like that, because the fastball is beautiful. The
Right.
fastball is polished. It is amazing. It is very fast. But if a hitter knows that he can lay off that, or if he can time it, which major league hitters can do,
Mm-hmm.
then they're going to either wait on the breaking stuff and draw a walk, or they're going to time that fastball perfectly and start hitting it all over the yard. So I think that there's going to be some growing pains once he comes up. There's going to be some very nice starts, but I kind of think probably around a 4 ERA. So when people see that number 4 and they think, "Oh, he's a bust." He's not. He's just a rookie and he's working through some stuff and he's going to have high strikeout numbers, but you're probably going to look at the walk total and be like, "Yeah, that could come down, I think." But I definitely am excited to see him pitch because I really hope that they aren't just dragging us along here and stringing us along as Reds fans, and they're
Yeah,
actually going to give him a shot because I think he can win that spot out of spring training.
exactly. Royal Flush Terry here says Moose, which I agree with this. Moose is costing too much money to be a platoon third baseman. There's almost 100 at, I think he means ABs at third base alone. Piss poor financial management. And the thing is, Moose was brought in here to be a second baseman. that's what
Yeah.
that's what he was supposed to be. What screwed that all up was Jonathan India coming in here and balling out and most likely being the rookie of the year. And I talk about this on multiple occasions here on the show. We got 2 third basemen that right now are probably below average third baseman, if you ask me. And I love both of them, but they got to step up. But the thing is, though, say they both actually start hitting and Moose actually starts staying healthy. Where you can't, you're not going to platoon them. You're spending too much money on both those to make a platoon out of them. What do you think they're going to do with third base?
Well, the good news is 99% of people who are close to the situation are thinking the DH is coming to the NL, which will solve a lot of problems when it comes to Moose and his playing time and things like that. It's interesting because you do think of it, obviously lefty righty, you think of it as a platoon, but Gino was actually better at hitting right-handed pitching than he was at hitting left-handed pitching last year, which is saying something because he wasn't really good at hitting either, but he
Right.
was really good at hitting right-handed pitching compared to lefties. So you almost wonder if they're going to think about that because obviously they're going to bank on September.
Mhm.
There's no way they're going to be able to trade him and get any sort of value recouped from Eugenio Suarez's contract. So they just got to hope that September becomes 2023 and he hits like the middle of the order Gino we thought he could be.
Right.
When it comes to Moose, he just got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
He's been so injured so
Mhm.
many times and been on the IL so much that I look at this and I say, if he's healthy, then we can evaluate him. Because to evaluate the stats that he's put up this past season is foolish because he was so on off playing for a very short amount of time, then being on the IL for a long time. That to say that we know anything about how he was playing in 2021, I just, there's nothing that I could glean from that information. So a lot of it just has to deal with how healthy will he be. And unfortunately, that's something that you can say about a couple of different guys on this roster.
Right. Unfortunately, yeah. All right. One last question here, and I'll let you get out of here. I appreciate you giving me almost an hour. Crown
Yeah.
wants to know again. He's on Green and Lodolo. He said, "Who's going to be better?" I have no idea which one to be better. I think they both could be to be very. I mean, my opinion, Green has the potential to be better, but Lodolo is. I think Lodolo's control is better than Green's is right now.
I think in terms of like kind of like when you talk about like a fantasy player and you're like where's the floor at, where's the ceiling at for a player? I think that Hunter Green has a much higher ceiling
Mm-hmm.
than Nick Lodolo does. I
Mm-hmm.
think that career-wise, you'll compare the two, and Hunter Green will have a better career. I think the floor already for Nick Lodolo is much higher than Hunter Green. I think that Hunter Green might actually have not as impressive. Now he'll have more strikeouts, but the other numbers won't look as impressive as Nick Lodolo's first season. I think if you were to give them both a full slate of starts, their rookie season, Nick Lodolo would have better numbers. But year 2, year 3, year 4, you see
Right.
Hunter Green create that gap
Right.
because Hunter Green is more talented than Nick Lodolo. It's just that Nick Lodolo is far more polished right
Mm-hmm.
now
Right.
than Hunter Green is.
That's a perfect way to say it. Let's end it on that note. Like I said, tell everybody about your podcast and All Bearcats and all that stuff again, and I'll let you get on out of here.
Yeah, man, Jeff, I appreciate you having me. You can follow Locked On Reds on YouTube every single day or on your favorite podcasting app. And a quick tease as well. Tomorrow we will have Lucas Sims on the podcast, although it'll be the audio only version, will be a different YouTube podcast, simply because couldn't get the video synced up. But we got a great audio podcast. We talk about that amazing game on April 20th, whenever it was sleeting and the umpires were like, nah, you can still pitch.
Yeah, keep throwing the ball. They're wet. That ball's wet. They're all wet. Go ahead,
Yeah, we'll do that. That'll be it's a lot of fun, and it's a good chat. So you're not going to miss that. And then allbearcats.com. It's just like that. That's the URL. We got all kind of great coverage, whether it comes to football or basketball, and it's only going to get better from here because we literally just started. I think we went live Thursday night, so we're not even a week
James
old yet.
was actually on my show, and whatever day, I think it was Thursday. And he goes, we literally just started this today. I said, cool.
Yeah. We're still kicking, still getting our feet wet, but it's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. Well, Jeff, as always, I appreciate you coming on. It's always a blast. And well, at least when you come on now, we can talk about the Bearcats and not the Reds every single time, but we still got to talk about the Reds. I love the Reds. They're just frustrating.
It's like I tweeted out the other day. I will not wear any Reds items until the Reds actually make an acquisition that will help them win more games this upcoming season.
You might not be.
I'm with you. I'm mad.
You might not be wearing any. All right, Jeff. Take it easy, man.
See you, Jeff.
See ya. All right, guys. I hope you enjoy that. Jeff Carr is a great follow. Go follow him on Twitter. Like I said, go check him out on Locked On Reds. And he's writing for All Bearcats. I keep saying we need to have a Locked On Bearcats. That's what I want next. I want to get a Locked On Bearcats. Hopefully that's in the works. So change your peen if you have anything to do with that. If you're out there, listen, give me a Locked On Bearcats. We need that. We need more good Bearcat content. Anyway, let's get to the Facebook groups that let me live stream. And as always, I appreciate every single one of them. They're Houday Nation, Houday Legion, Bearcat Ruckus, Bearcat Country, Cincinnati Reds riding third, heading for home, the Ohio State Bucknuts, the Ice Bar. And you follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Sports with Strawberry Ice on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Twitter handle is at Jeff A. Trenopole. TikTok is at Iceman90. I hope to be pulling the sound off later on tonight and putting it on the podcast. I'm having issues. For some reason, I don't know what's going on. I haven't been able to download last night's and put it up on the podcast. For those of you who like listening to the podcast, I appreciate you guys. I'm trying to get them up there. Like I said, I'm having issues. I'll find out, try to figure it out. But if it's on the podcast, which hopefully it will be, it's on BeanPod, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher Play, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure you rate, like, and review. Give me a 5-star review. Leave a comment so more Cincinnati fans can find my podcast. I would greatly appreciate it. YouTubers, we're at 1,416 subscribers. That is awesome. I appreciate every single one of you guys. And hold on, I gotta get this. Yes, Crown. I am in contact with Terry. Terry will be on the show here, hopefully next week. So yes, I'm working with Terry to try to get him on the show. So that's my boy. So Terry, don't just keep watching the show every day. Terry will be on here, like I said, hopefully next week. Actually, Thursday, I have Alex Meacham on the show. So we're trying to do, since the Bengals are, it's bye week, we're trying to do a lot of Bearcat content because I don't get to do a lot of Bearcat content. Well, it's hard. I can get a lot of Bengal content on there. I got a lot of guys that I have relationships with the Bengals and doing Bengal podcasts and writing articles and stuff like that are willing to come on the show. I don't have as many with the Bearcats. I'm working on that. But Alex Meacham is going to be on. He has a great podcast. And it's going to be a great dude to have on Thursday. So we'll be talking about more Bearcats. And as my boy, Jeremy Dimebag These Nuts likes to say, remember one thing and one thing only. And that is, you don't live in Cleveland. You live in Cincinnati. Houday. Let's go watch the Bearcats. They're going to start here in about a half an hour. Hopefully my ESPN Plus will work. And the beginning of the Wes Miller era will have begun. It'll be officially Miller time, even though I'm a Bud Light fan. You guys have a great evening. I'll see you tomorrow. And that's just sports, baby. See ya!
Let's go. Stripes, stripes, stripes. Stripes, stripes, stripes. Stripes, stripes, stripes. Yeah. Stripes, stripes, stripes. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast disobey, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, who day we ignite in Stripes. Cincinnati, we gon' rise in In the jungle, we unite in Drippin' orange and black and white. Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Wake up the beast, every end day is a feast. Time to bust it off the leash. In the jungle, drippin' heat. Tigers stripe the city streets. East side, stand up. West side, stand up. If you reppin', who day? Time to put your hands up. Bingo stripes, we in it. New day, new age, yeah, we get it. Cincinnati, jungle fitted. Who day in our house, we win it. Orange and black and white, we build it. Earn our stripes, you know we kill it. Bleed our colors, jungle drippin'. Nasty, natty, yeah, we live it. Lit the crowd, get the city loud. Yeah, we feastin' now. Fit the bounce, make the city howl. Now we beastin' now. Thunder through the tunnel, from the sideline to the huddle. Stripes we tatted on the jungle when we flex that who they muscle on them. Stripes, Cincinnati, we gon' rise in In the jungle, we unite in Drippin' orange and black and white. Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Stripes. Now who wanna move crossing on? Stripes. Now who wanna move on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock them, yeah we got them, yeah we fought them. Like that black and orange up on them, bingo bottle, never stop it till the beast done feastin' on them. Who they rockin' with the diamond stripes, flossin'